Is he up here?
Oh, yeah. But this should be on a different way.
All right, we're going to get started. Hopefully you're in the right session. You found it. Building fan bases. I'm John Barr. I'm going to be moderating this panel. We've got some great panelists. We'll start off with some intros. Again, my name is John Barr. I run NHLtoSeattle, the community grassroots efforts to bring NHL here, which we finally, after 8 years, is going pretty well. So I'll have some perspectives on that, because it's a very different perspective when you're not getting paid for it. So, and then I'll just kick it off. Chris, do you want to kick us off?
Yep. Chris Barretta, Senior Associate AD over Ticketing and Revenue at University of North Texas, and I also teach as an adjunct prof.
I'll just talk. Joe Rickson, Assistant AD for Ticket Operations at Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey, right outside New York City.
Joe Cody, Senior Vice President, Ticket Sales and Service for Portland Timbers MLS team just south of here.
All right, so one thing I want to start out with is how do you really define, or excuse me, how do you define a fan base and potential fan base, and how does that go into your strategy? So if you can all kind of comment about that.
Yeah, with us, we place our fans in buckets. So our first fan bucket for us are season ticket holders who've been members 3 years plus. These are donors that believe in the Mean Green. The second bucket of fans for us are season ticket holders that are newer and donors up to 2 years. Next bucket are casual fans. The casual fan for us, depending on promotion, they come out to a handful of games. Next bucket are fringe fans, and these fringe fans, it's really all about how the team performance is. So, we definitely want to gear those fans with strategic asks.
So for us, it's just a little more simple. 90% of our season ticket holders are alumni. We're a pretty small school. We are in the Big East. Basketball's huge for us, but we have a pretty small campus. We graduate 1,000 kids a year, and we have about 4,000 kids on campus. So for us, going after alumni is a big thing for us, and we put them on a pretty high pedestal, especially our season holders that are alumni. We've done a really good job last couple of years of trying to just find new ways to incentivize them and reward them for their service. So we have just the general local community. For a long time, Seton Hall basketball, especially back in the 90s, when DJ Charisma was there, was really successful, and then went through about 20 years, they really didn't do anything. And so we have the casual fan that remembers the old days, but really hasn't bought into the new brand of basketball. And then we do a circle outside that 50-mile radius for us, and we try to track down those people as well, especially people with connections to the university, and then, of course, basketball interest.
Well, for soccer, it's a pretty passionate fan base. So the white hot core center that we have, known as the Timbers Army. Chris was with the Sounders before, so he's very familiar with that. Supercharged fan base. Call them supporters, not fans, in soccer. So our supporters group, Timbers Army, we worked with them before we came to MLS in 2011. They started as a small group in 2001, and through the first 10 years of that franchise, they built up more and more supporters. We worked with them when we went to MLS and really kind of just set the framework for them, and then let them do what they do inside. And anybody that's seen a Timbers game and seen those large tifo displays that we have, which are the large displays pre-game, they do all themselves. And so we have them, and we call them the white hot center of our fans and supporters. And then we identify people on the outside, sports fans. We always had the Blazers in town, and we want to kind of pull from them as well, sports fans. So getting them to games is important for us. So how we define fans is the supporters, and then we have other fans as well. And trying to foster those fans into supporters is a pretty important thing for us.
So interesting about that is, and I'm looking at two people in education and then a pro sports franchise. How much do you get involved in the youth sports? I know it's probably more challenging for kind of colleges to get involved, but from the Timbers perspective, how much do you kind of invest in kind of youth sports or youth soccer?
So we have youth soccer sales programs for both the Timbers, and we have a women's team as well, Thorns, which does incredibly well. It's the best attended women's sports team in the world. I know that sounds probably not plausible, but really it's true. Fact check me if you want. So we do a lot of outreach with those groups. We have a Tickets for Kids program, which is partners purchase large blocks of tickets and give those away to youth groups as well. Obviously, kids playing soccer are more likely to become fans of soccer. So selling them at a discount off the individual game price. And for the Timbers, we sell out every game, so our ticket price is pretty aggressive, but we have a deeply discounted youth soccer rate, and so we're able to bring them under the tent.
And it's hard for colleges to get involved in youth sports because you don't really have access to the players to kind of come and make appearances. Is that a safe assumption there, or do you get involved a little bit?
Yeah, for us, in the collegiate side, compliance is a big part of things. So being in compliance and visits from potential prospects, that's an animal in itself, and we pride ourselves on being a flawless record, which we've had thus far in both my institutions. But similar to Joe, we've taken initiatives to really get out in the community in DFW. We've separated ourselves from some of the pro teams, including FC Dallas, quite honestly, and SMU and TCU. We've sold 9,000 group tickets this year. Last year we sold 4,611. The year before that, with a third party selling, we sold around 1,000. So, being strategic and going after things and being genuine, and like Joe had said, getting out in the community, having some sponsors, try to activate, providing the kids with a memento means a lot, and an experience. And Joe will talk about some of that with Seton Hall, but that's been, the crucial part for us to grow, exponentially.
Yeah, compliance is it's a whole mess. Basically, anybody who, just break it down for you, anybody who is basically ninth grader up is considered a potential prospect. So I can't do any marketing initiatives, team giveaways. We allow certain local rec league teams to play on the court at halftime post game. Can't do that in any of those groups. So right there off the bat, you sort of have to eliminate that group. So for us, it's just been the same thing. Community events. We hit up this year. We've done every single rec basketball tournament. We've made an appearance there. Just to let people know that we're there and we're an option for them. Something that we take for granted all the time, I feel like we say this a lot, is court access and access to our facility. We take that for granted, but to an 8-year-old kid, that's pretty awesome. And then you do a tour or allow them to play on the floor at halftime, that's awesome. And other kids see that and they want to do it. So for the second year, we're already sold out of our post-game halftime court, playing opportunities. So that's big. But just getting out in the community is huge. Just being at all those rec league events, being at all the community events and fairs and things like that. And for us, even there, because I'm right outside New York City. They tell you in school to make a little SWOT chart when you're first start taking business classes. And to me, it's just New York City. It's just one whole column in itself. So for us, it's differentiating ourselves from what's available in the city and making sure people know that we're there and that we're an affordable family option for them.
So I know you index probably toward football and basketball, but you do have other sports under your umbrella. And what are the challenges of maintaining some sports, like selling tickets or just building fan bases for not the football team or the basketball team in your case, in your space?
Yeah, with us we have 16 different sports that are NCAA, Division I, varsity programs. So just from a time standpoint, just being very strategic with offerings. We had a pink out event for our volleyball. That was a success. So just on a grander scale, just shrinking it down, focusing everything on one or two events with the Olympic sports has been a success. But it's a challenge with staffing and resources, for sure.
We don't need to get into basketball, which is pretty great. So we're a lot of focus on those things. And we make sure that we assist our marketing department however we can in making sure that we have our own email that we use, that we dish marketing information out to. We have our own Twitter. So we make sure that we're giving our fans the opportunity to see what events are available for free. And that way it feels like when we do send them a message that is targeted sales, it doesn't I got a sales pitch email this week, but last week I got an email letting me know the volleyball was free, and we were doing like a pink out event, same sort of thing. And so for us, it's just mainly about letting them know, we want to develop other sports, we care about other sports, and that we're not always just trying to pitch sales opportunities to them, that we are interested in getting them out to our other events.
And so do you manage both the Timbers and the Thorns? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
and there's probably still some kind of balancing act that you have to do to promote both and give each the attention it deserves. So how do you kind of manage through those expectations?
Yeah, so we've got one sales team. We have 7 sales reps total to sell for 3 teams. So we have the third team as well, the USL team, which is kind of AAA soccer. We're selling for all 3 teams simultaneously. So it's really just kind of getting the sales team to focus on one thing at a time. So they put all their energy towards it. So our goal is to sell out all of our Timber group inventory first, and then we move on to Thorns group inventory, and Thorns and T2. Thorns is a higher priority than the Timbers 2 USL team, but there's different price points for all 3, and it's kind of tiered, cascades down where Timbers is the most expensive, Thorns, and then T2 is the least expensive. And so we're able to craft packages for whether it be community groups or businesses based upon what their budget is and what they can afford for each of the 3 teams. So it actually gives us a lot of flexibility to be able to get people into the building experiencing soccer.
So how much crossover are there, like fans that kind of participate in all of them, or
It is
all 3 games?
the crossover from our Timbers season ticket base to Thorns season ticket base is about 15% only. So it's a really totally different demo for the women's soccer. T2 is very similar to Timbers. We're targeting more community-based fundraising type sales initiatives for students.
One thing I realize I have an advantage being one person. I can keep a consistent message across all my platforms. And the bigger the programs, the bigger the teams, you probably have multiple people kind of being the voice of either the school or the team. How do you keep the consistency across all platforms and mediums as far as what the message is from the club?
I think with our external unit, it's communication. Graphic-wise, what we inherited, a decade before we all arrived, the last many, many years, our season ticket base was plunging. Messaging, like you had said, is all over the place. So really honing everything in and making sure that there's a message, not just on social, but everywhere, from flyers to everything.
Yeah, we meet with our external group meets every week, so that's marketing, tickets, sports information. We all meet and we'll go over all of our different email strategies that week. So if I have 2 emails going out, I'll make sure that sports info people, marketing don't have emails going out, basically doing the same thing. We'll go through what our messaging is going to be. For example, if there's a player, for example, the Big East is doing a big fan vote for Player of the Year right now. It counts as 1 vote. And so we send out an email, we send out a C0 email, and we send that out with it, just pushing that and marketing sports up to the same thing. So really it's all about getting on the same page. Sometimes it's sort of a tough discussion to prioritize. Marketing wants to push something, I want to push something else I think is more valuable. They might, necessarily generate more revenue. They're more focused branding initiatives. Sports information is trying to push, a player. So there's a lot of tough conversations that come out of that, but usually, iron sharpens iron for the most part. We get out of there and we have a general idea of what we're doing and make sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes and that we do have a clear, concise message about, what we're going to be pushing that week to our fan base.
Yes, same thing, communication. Our senior vice president of marketing, we actually started out the same day 11 years ago. So we've got a great relationship. We've been working with it for over a decade now. And we both are on the same page, but at times you are battling, the marketing has an initiative. There might be a partnership initiative as well, but we need to get this message out about selling tickets. So it's really, it does come down to some battles. I usually win them, but communication is the key. Just so everyone knows what the most important thing is, and kind of having a hierarchy of this. We need to sell tickets first, then partnerships, and then this marketing initiative, and just having that throughout the whole organization is key.
So how far in advance do you plan your communications plan? Obviously, communication is key, but things change. So players get hurt, or lose, you win, whatever. So you have to kind of be a little flexible there, and so that makes it probably challenging to keep on the side. But how far in advance are you planning your communications plan as far as whether it be direct mail campaigns or even phone calls?
For us, it's around 6 to 12 months. We've got our annual timeline, but things change. And you got to be flexible and mobile. I passed out the 90-yard Peter Pan punt return. That was a blessing. And again, you got to be, in pro and collegiate sports, you have to be on the go and mobile and ready whenever possible. So.
When we schedule things out, we have our messaging that we know we're going to do all the time. So we do a season ticket renewal email, usually once a week during the renewal campaign. Then once you've renewed, there's a separate set of emails for you. We'll schedule those out months in advance. And then our pregame, postgame emails, pregame, there's parking info, here's how you get there, here's how you traffic delays, things like that. Additional tickets if you need them. We do a postgame email. Like I said, those things are consistent. We schedule those out almost months in advance. And then we do leave some gaps that we'll usually discuss almost week by week. All right, what's our initiative this week? What's coming down the line? So it's this mixture of, you line up things you can't control now. That way, when those little things do pop up, you're not worried about the day-to-day in the weed stuff. You're dealing with stuff. We have to do that now. And the stuff you can't control is already done out of the way. So that's what we try to do. Is just to try to manage the fires that we can by doing organized stuff.
Same thing for us. You have the keystone events that you know are happening, games, season ticket renewals, first game of the season, those have to, we're going to want a big push to kick off the season. But then you have flexibility, if the game is lagging a little bit, you need to push that game to sell some more tickets, and you have that flexibility in there that you've already built in for the season.
Okay, shifting gears a little bit, thinking about how you get feedback from your fans. There's various ways, and sometimes the internet can be a little interesting place to get feedback. But how do you gather feedback now? How do you prioritize within those different mediums that you're getting feedback, as far as whether it be fan experience or even player team? Right? I'm sure you can hear it there too. So, any thoughts on how you get feedback and how you prioritize that?
We have SurveyMonkey, surveys that go out after each game. We also have an annual survey that proves very fruitful for us. Honestly, social media has become a big thing. Our athletic director is very, very poignant, and he literally sends probably 5 to 8 messages a day. So a lot of fans are voicing a lot of information to him, but at the end of the day, accountability, like Barr spoke of before, without that we have nothing.
In the post-game email that we send out to all our fans after every game with the box score, and thanks for coming, messaging about the next game, all that stuff. They say they can reply to the email. We say, hey, if you have any problems or issues, reply to the email. I monitor that account. That way nobody else can a number of reps have access to that. And then if customer has a bad experience, I know what rep is attributable to that. I'll send an email and hold that person accountable for that. We don't do a ton of survey, like I said, we do one big postseason survey email out to everybody. For the most part, it's just, and same thing, social media. We monitor social media. We have our own Twitter account. People do not hesitate to tell us that they're having a bad experience in the game. A lot of times, what's nice about social media is it can be a person that gives people the opportunity to run their mouths, things they wouldn't normally say to somebody up front. But what's nice about it is there's a silver lining in that if somebody's had a bad experience at the game, and they are messaging us at the game, I can track down that person. We can fix it that night. That's a huge opportunity for us. And so we sort of view it as a blessing and a curse to a certain degree. At the same time, there is the threat of people going on social media and trashing you. But at the same time, it's an opportunity to fix the problem, make it right. If you can track down the customer and get a hold of them, make sure you can fix that problem.
Yeah, obviously, we monitor social media. Anybody that knows our team, knows our owner, likes to tweet a lot, and there's some interesting interactions. But yeah, we do surveys as well. Obviously, we survey our annual members, our season holders, at the end of the season, mid-season actually. But we have 8 reps that are solely focused to service, and so they have accounts and they are proactively making contacts throughout the year, and are actually held accountable on not only how many contacts they make, but actually how many meaningful contacts they make, where they're actually talking to somebody, getting a reaction from somebody. So there's a bonus. They have a bonus at the end of the year based upon how many interactions they have with their clients, and making sure that their untouched accounts is less than 10% at all times. So they're constantly just talking to people, getting feedback, and that's that's been, it's the reason why we've had a lot of success. I really do believe that from the outset, we've renewed at 98% or higher, and it's been because of our VP of Member Services, Chris Wilson, who does a tremendous job. And in that first season, we employed somebody at games to count how many people were sitting and standing in each section, and then we proactively called them during the season to ask how your experience is going, so we could proactively handle the issue if someone was saying, I don't like standing, but I have to sit in my section. Well, we actually have someone who actually wants to stand, but they're in a seating section, we switch it. So we were doing that in that first season, and proactively handling those issues. This was 2011, so it was really the infancy of Twitter, so we would have had more tweets now, but proactively handling that then was, I really do believe, the cornerstone of our success on the renewal front, and then our wait list and everything else. So handling that, just proactively being in contact with your fans is a positive thing. That's our communication.
So we've been talking a lot about, I shouldn't use the term customers, but members that come to games and participate that way. But what about the fan base outside of the attend the games? Because I remember seeing the Seahawks, it was the year after the Super Bowl, they said 98% of their fans never go to a football game. So you have these fans, I don't want to call them customers because that's a bad word sometimes, but they're out there and they want to participate. So how do you kind of, because they're basically on deck for season tickets or kind of dabbling in games. How do you kind of foster that fan base and kind of keep those, essentially the leagues warm?
Yeah, with us, we have 200,000 living alumni in the DFW area, so engaging our alumni, but thinking outside of the box. Many administrators on the collegiate side just want to go after the alumni, where our philosophy is there's 7 million folks that live in DFW, got to go after those folks. So we partnered with a company called Humble and had amazing success with activators with Humble, with not only alumni, but targeting football fans in DFW. And we're able to realize some really good sales and KPIs from that. But overall, things are going in an upward climb. We're announcing a 46% increase with season ticket holders, donorship level, multi-million level this year. So things are going in a good trend for us. We're just continuing that, and we can't control wins and losses. So being strategic, similar to Joe, we've got a CRM system that we're implementing, Salesforce, which is going to be great to really hunker down and get to know our season ticket holders to the next level, which those relationships transcend wins and losses, in my opinion. So hopefully
For us, it's really been just about getting out there, because we did 7 street fairs this year, and that's huge for us for a couple of reasons. The first thing is it gets us in front of people that wouldn't necessarily be in front of, and for us, our arch rivals is Rutgers, and where we are, where they're not, but we're pretty pumped about it. And so we try to get to basically everywhere we can get in front of people. But like I said, we do have a really dedicated alumni base, but not all of them are buying tickets. Mm-hmm. And so for us, we found that a lot of times we go to the street fairs, we're getting a lot of new business. That's great for us. But at the same time, it's great to see alumni who haven't bought tickets or haven't been engaged. You're pretty pumped to see it's there. There's like a pride element of, wow, you guys are here, it's awesome. But for us, it's really going after the next generation of people. We did a lot of kid-specific initiatives. We go to the street fairs, we literally turn into a street team. We're handing out little available basketballs to every kid that we can find. And it's got our ticket phone number on, our ticket office Twitter, our ticket email address. Like you will have no problem finding us. And so that's been really big for us. And we've had an explosion in our junior Pirates program the last couple of years, which in turn usually translates into, you probably make about, it's only $25 to join junior Pirates, but we make probably, we did a little study on it last year, about $200 extra bucks off each of those people. The social tickets are buying the game. We give you 2 free tickets, so people are usually buying 2 more tickets. And so for us, it really is just about community engagement, getting everywhere we can to remind people that we're there. Like I said, we're in a crowded New York space, and remind people that we are the affordable family option. You're not being able to go to a Ranger game and get a family 4-pack for $100, right? But you can do that with us, and it was $100, so you're shopping. So like this, so that's been a big thing for us, just reminding people that we're in the community, we're here, and we are you're affordable.
Yeah, for us, since 2012, we've really focused on community. So we've got a platform called Stand Together, which is our community outreach, and We have three full-time people plus our mascot. Our mascot is actually a live human. It's a lumberjack. You saw his logs and games. Yeah, but he does 300 appearances, 300 to 400 appearances a year in the community. And we do a week, 1 week in the year where we have community service projects throughout the city. So we have about 30 to 40 projects, about 1,000 total volunteers, but it's all throughout the community. It's everybody, every player, every soccer operations staff, every full-time and part-time staff member of the team is a part of it. So it's us just in the community and just getting our face out there. Another initiative we had to try and catch people when they're very young is we actually partnered with our healthcare provider, Providence, and we gave out blankets to newborns at the Timbers and Thorns blankets right when they were born. So they got a free blanket with Timbers and Thorns branding for infants. Catch them when they're young.
That's young.
We're still we gotta wait a little bit of the payoff. But,
You can measure that, right?
Yeah,
Sure, there's some KPIs in there.
yeah. We do have we do know the first baby that did get it, so
Okay.
we're still waiting on it. It's gonna be a while, but.
Interesting. So I think you're touched a little bit on tech, I just remember being at conferences before and seeing all the potential partners, particularly in pro sports. There's 30 different logos up on the ticketing screen of potential partnering vendors. How do you onboard tech and how do you kind of analyze it? I'm sure it matters how big your budget is, but can you just kind of talk about tech and how it is onboarding at the different organizations?
On the collegiate level, I'd say we're probably 3 to 5 years behind the pros. So for me, getting in with North Texas, the first initiative was seating upgrades and really trying to take our student ticketing to the next level. And I'll go over that in the next session that I'm on. But Experience is a company that's been phenomenal. So the problem when you work with a state entity, you're signing an RFP, and that delays things. So we actually launched Experience last year, 2 days before the home opener, which was crazy, but tech can be huge. And Experience is a company where it's exclusively on your mobile, right? So we're all mobile savvy now, so the students can log in and activate their student ticket and then purchase student guest tickets. So we have like 78, I believe, or 88% increase YOY with student guest ticket purchases. So it can be a blessing, but it definitely takes time, and you need the resources to make sure that you have a focused staff member to really fulfill and provide a certain level of service. But Experience has been great. We partner with NFL, MLS, and then quite a few different colleges. We're out of the beta testing now, us and UW.
Yeah, we just started, we decided to do Experience this year. It was a 2-year process. Our campus has one person who oversees all the contracts, so he's got 8 or 9 contracts at one time he's looking over, and so it's just difficult to get that going. So we're not seeing institution with the same problem. My kids like it's a mess. But once you get it, we're using it for mobile student tickets too. Just one less thing to get off our plate from an ops standpoint. The student can take care of that themselves, then great, that makes things easier for us. We just onboarded a company a couple years ago called FIVO. We're the first collegiate partner, and they've been great for us. Basically, it's the idea of the old school group sale of somebody calling up and saying, I'm buying 100 tickets for my youth group. That's dying. I mean, by the minute, it's dying. People don't really want to do that anymore because you're responsible for those tickets, you go back out last minute, it's a mess. So basically what FIVO did for us was it allows customers to, we'll build an event, we'll put it up online. All the group leader has to do is send out the link, they buy the ticket, and then 10 minutes later, I get my email and ticket forwarded to me. I'm not responsible for it, all I have to do is get the link out. And so that's been huge for us, and what we've discovered, what's been really cool using the tech is 70% of people who have used FIVO to buy a ticket is a first-time customer. That's the brand new sales lead that's never been to a game before. So we make sure that for that person's first game, we're rolling off the right market. I mean, it's out of control. But what's nice is that's data we never would have gotten.
Yeah, you capture all
all of the general group sale. I would never have gotten that information. So that's been key for us just from a lead generation standpoint. But the problem we have is the tech's not cheap. And, when and a lot of universities, you don't even keep ticket revenue. The school takes ticket revenue, you only get donation money. So there's a whole different dynamic of why we're going to spend this money. We don't even keep it. There's just a lot going on in collegiate realm from that standpoint. But tech, if you can afford the tech, you can get it. You can justify the expense. Then it's worth it. No FIBO's generated a ton of ROI for us, and it's even better because we don't pay anything up front for it, which is great too. It's another thing you'll discover when you get in the sports world. If you tell your boss you want to get something and he asks what it costs, and you say nothing the customer pays for, that's great too. The more companies you can get involved in can give you like that, like FIBO did for us, is huge. But the biggest thing is that for us, we look for any tech that can provide us additional lead generation. And so for student season tickets, it's great because I'm buying a single game ticket or a student guest ticket, why do you want a season ticket? I can send you a little email the next day with information on how to do that. Same with FIBO. Oh, you came to a game, did you enjoy yourself? Your submitting plan, here's I think it's the next game. So for us, it's all about lead generation and trying to expand, our revenue reach there.
Yeah, we're in the pros, so, but I don't think we're 3 to 5 years ahead of you guys. We are usually, with the Timbers, we're not really first adopters. We like to see the proof of if it's working well, because as you said, there's 30 or 40 logos up there, and everyone says they've got the new better mousetrap that's going to be able to get people. And so I'm usually hesitant. I'll say, let me see how this is going first before we commit to it. But we use FIBO, we use Experience as well. We use a company called Zipwith for communicating with people, which is via text message, but it's on the desktop, and you actually the rep uses their actual phone number, their direct line, so the customer just has one point of contact, it's either phone or text, and we've seen a huge increase in actually people renewing via text message rather than the traditional ways of email or phone calls. So that's been a huge one for us, and we were actually one of the first people on Zipwith, so I guess we went pretty hard on that one. But we've also this year, for 2019, we're partnering with SeatGeek as our primary and secondary partner. So we'll be selling our individual and secondary stuff all on one platform via SeatGeek, and we signed with them 2 years ago. We had to kind of ride out the last few years of a Pacquiao deal. But since we've signed with them, they've signed 4 other MLS teams. They've got the Dallas Cowboys, the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans. They've got a bunch of EPL teams as well. So they've done an incredible job growing that brand. But that's a lot of teams have gone in Seattle. I'm sure you've talked to some people in Seattle. That's a rough times early there with SeatGeek, but they've smoothed it out. So everyone else rushed in and they figured everything out. And hopefully we'll just breathe right in come December.
The thing that amazes me talking about Zipwith is how often our fans actively will avoid answering the phone for us. Like, they know that rep, they're not going to answer the phone for them, and we'll send them a text, and 2 minutes we'll get a response saying, yeah, I'll do it, I'm in, but like, they won't answer 10 phone calls, they'll answer text messages. That's something I wish I had thought of. It's so heavy thing. But it's crazy. Like I said, that's the amazing, how often our good fans, who've been for 30 years, actively avoid our reps phone calls. So, like I say, that technology really is the future. It's crazy awesome.
We've only used it for service, but we're actually this year going to implement it for sales now too, because we've seen that it's tough to get through to people calling, nothing happening, text, also reply.
So where are you sharing, or where are you getting information about people implementing this? Like, do you lean on the conferences? Do the conferences have, gatherings or where you can get together and share ideas, or MLS league offices, do they push kind of like, hey, here's the latest, here's something that's being used in Atlanta or wherever? Do they tend to share a little bit more, or where do you get your kind of how things are going on in the wild, I guess?
MLS does. They've got a club services division that shares best practices across the league, and the league has actually gone from, they're changing from, it was all about selling out and high renewal rates, to now they're actually they want to know the fan journey and kind of growing the fan base is the focus now. So it's more on analytics and finding out who's coming, segmenting it, attacking the people that we know can grow from casual fan to an avid supporter. So they push a lot of that out, and
like a lifetime value.
Yes, yeah. It's been great for us to you've been this long enough, you got enough connections where you can lean on something, hey Chris, how's the experience work for you? Oh, it's been great. So using personal network as well.
Yeah, so similar personal network for us on the collegiate side, NACDA, which is the athletic director annual conference, different areas from ticketing, marketing, to HR and then the athletic director. We all meet annually, so I think that's been fruitful. Another conference that's amazing, SEAT, was in Dallas last year. I found it fascinating. So both those for me, and then all the little bubbles and contacts, like Joe had said, have been instrumental in pushing things forward.
Yeah, personal networking is huge. Most of the time when we're meeting with a potential new vendor, I ask who currently has you, and usually they'll list off 5 or 6 different names, and I'll say, oh, I know one or two of those people on my telephone. So personal networking is huge from that standpoint. And then I try to go to the conferences that each address different things. NATSO and NACTA's, collegiate sides, I'll do that. ALSD, is more the luxury seating components. So I just try to hit up enough where I get a couple different voices and ideas from different groups of people. But for me, personal networking, about 90% of the time is how we're able to figure out if it's something we want to do and adopt that methodology.
And then one last thing on the technology side, we were Ticketmaster for 10 years. We didn't really feel the love, and we felt like we were one of thousands. They lost out on us, and now we're exponentially growing like crazy. So we partnered with a company, Joe spoke about before, and they're great on the collegiate side because it's not just ticketing, it's donors as well, making sure that they're integrated. But Pacquiao has been great for us with upsells and taking things to the next level on that side, and then integrating our parking. So it's an ever-growing arena in terms of technology and seeing who's going to be able to take out Ticketmaster next. But SeatGeek on the pro side, Pacquiao has a market share of over 90% collegiately. So I think just depends on who you're trying to target and why it makes sense.
And don't be afraid to pressure your technology partners. Like, I ride my technology partners hard all the time. Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? Is this coming out of line? Like, is this like, or was there a workaround? Somebody else figured out a way to sort of hack the system, but find a way to do it without the current components. Make sure that your technology partners, they have a pipeline down the road of this is QE2, QE3, QE4, just so that we're moving down the line and we're improving. I don't like when I see my rep for any company, he's like, well, how's the product yet? We're pretty excited about where we are. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, here's a rolling out 2, 3, 4 years down the line. So like I said, if you have a tech partner, don't be afraid to make sure you get on your rep to make sure that they know your needs and then where you expect them to start meeting your needs. That's always good for us.
And last question before we see if the audience has any questions. What are some of the KPIs other than obviously butts and seats, right? What are some of the other KPIs you use to measure kind of the success of how you're doing with developing campus? I know one helps too, but
Upsells for us were pretty big. We've grown 326%, I think, this year. So how do we do that? Through our partner this year. We didn't have it previously, but that starts it.
We're looking for new season ticket sales is big for us, then general new ticket sales is big. But we're still a Ticketmaster platform right now, and through their TM1 solution, they have this really cool feature called a heat map, where basically it pulls up, your state, your general area, you pull it nationally, and tells you where your fan base is coming from. Anytime we can see a new indicator pop up of this is a new hotbed area for us, that's usually something we're pretty pumped about, especially if it's an area we really targeted our marketing efforts. Again, we know there's a big alumni base there. We know that we have a cool group of fans there. Anytime we get a new heat spot on that map pop up, that's pretty.
For us, television ratings is a big one. We're selling out every game. We need to be able to push TV ratings. And then social engagement. This year we put a lot of resources towards a 4-video series. Where it was 4 different funny videos targeted throughout the year to help grow social engagement. And so that's a big one for us.
all right. So now for the audience, any questions out there?
Hi, Antonio Ramirez. The quick question kind of more catered towards the guys in collegiate athletics. I feel like across the nation right now, season ticket sales and season ticket renewal, especially with football, basketball. I know a big portion of revenue comes from those TV contracts, ESPN, that kind of stuff. Kind of dealing with that sometimes gives you some wonky schedule times, and maybe it doesn't necessarily go well with your fans. They're like, oh, why would I pay this much money to go watch a kickoff at 7:15, 8:15, or go watch a basketball game on a Wednesday night? what are some things that you guys do to kind of, I guess, make it a unique experience for your fans to get into the match?
That's a great question. When you don't renew a season ticket, we want to find out why obviously you didn't renew. And about 9% of people who haven't renewed this year, it's because of our schedule times. Our earliest weeknight game in Big East play is 8 o'clock. So right now, I've killed my family member after that game. It's done. My earliest weekend game, outside of our 2 marquee games, which is 2 o'clock on Big Fox, is 8 o'clock. So that's really hurt us from a big standpoint. So what we try to make those young alumni, we try to go after young alumni who don't really care how late the game is. And so through our FIBO partner, we've decided to just take everything off our hands. So you can register for the young alumni event for people. We'll do all the work. You just have to show up. And so that's helped. It hasn't done a ton for us, but it's helped. But ultimately, we decided we want to sell out 4 to 5 key games a year. So the midweek game times don't necessarily kill us because we're still dumping most of our stuff in the pack out 4 to 5 weekend games a year. But it's really hard, and I don't think it's something that our ADs necessarily do a very good job of understanding because they like to take the TV money, and I get it. It's a big revenue share. I understand it, but I don't think in the collegiate realm we've done enough to invest back in the ticket side because it's going to be a lot harder to sell those games out, which means I need more manpower and more resources to be able to do that. So no, it's hard, and I don't really have a great answer for you. I wish I did, but for us, it's young alumni and more of our adult-based groups, the paint and sip stuff like that. So we're really going to sort of put all rights in those baskets because we but we're also not. The temptation too is to package up like a mini plan of you'll do a 5-game plan, and a lot of teams what they'll do is they'll pack up their 5 worst games. That's just stupid. Don't do that. Nobody wants to, Bertie Bowen from Aspires all the time. Nobody wants to drink at an empty bar, right? Like, if I'm a casual fan, you're selling me a 3-game plan. Why would I want my casual fans' first experience to be a midweek game against Providence on a Tuesday with 6,000 people in the building? I don't want the casual fan experience like that. So part of that's been communication with our AD because he's obviously upset at times. There's not good crowd for this Wednesday night game. Well, the Saturday game, we've got that sold out. So it's about fighting those little battles of do you want people coming to our big marquee games, or do you want us working really hard to sell cheap tickets to Tuesday night? And I think that's a battle we've sort of been able to win, but it's also about shifting the paradigm of are we going to invest a lot of time in midweek 8 o'clock games, or are we going to decide that, it's almost a lost cause at this point, we're going to move on. So, like I said, I think the alumni groups is important for us, but at the same time, I just think we must cut our losses and say we're going to throw this one this weekend. We had games on Big Fox, so outlooks good.
For us, we play Florida Atlantic initially November 17th, which is a Saturday. Could have been a huge game for us and potentially breaking another attendance record. Now we're playing November 15th because it's a nationally televised game at 8:30 Dallas time. So we got to get our wheels turning, and we're actually going to go out with a cool car on next week to rail the train from Lane Kiffin. So fingers crossed we can, pull things together with students. We're going to try to have a student rave type activity to engage them and get 10 to 15,000 kids, our students out. And then we're going to try to set something up pre-game for the young alums. But it is a challenge. Right now we're on BN Network. BN is huge with La Liga, some U.S. national team games as well, and they really want to get into the collegiate market. The problem right now, if you have Comcast, you can't really assess it very easily. So, my idea is the philosophy, they're going to come to the game. So it's been good and bad. We're trying to engage everybody around the country. So, our commissioner of our league, Conference USA, is retooling our long-term agreement here. So, there's a lot of moving parts.
For games like that too, where you're moving it from a weekend to your Thursday night, so to speak, or for us, you're playing 8 o'clock. One of the other efforts that we do is just get people to use their tickets. Like, if I don't want to go to the 8 o'clock game, how can we get your tickets into somebody else's hand? So we do ticket donation programs. We remind them for those games how they can resell their ticket. We over-communicate ways in which they can use their tickets for those games because every little bit helps. And like I said, I'm amazed at how many of those games, like, that game's going to be tough. You're going to have people who just don't use their tickets, they just don't even come. So how can we get the fans that do have tickets to find value in getting a ticket into the hands of a coworker or a friend, or even reselling it?
And Joe brings up a good point. In FBS with football, there's an NCAA ordinance. You have to have 15,000 tickets scanned or you're going to lose your classification. So that is huge. So in the pros, it's a little bit different from that standpoint. However, in MLS, for example, we have a lot of accountability with revenue and announced attendance, more so than MLB in my opinion, and some other leagues. But that 15,000 benchmark, we announced 30,105, breaking an attendance record against La Tech on September 29th. Well, the expectation for that game against FAU was to hopefully break that. So we got to make sure season ticket holders are going to come and then create some unique promos to hopefully get that towards the other side.
Great question. Great question. Thank you.
It's interesting thinking about that minimum, yet they're the ones switching the start times, which have a dramatic impact on your attendance.
And the auditors just constantly,
Yeah.
where are we at?
Yeah, and that's an average for the year, right? I assume the
Yes.
season? Yeah.
I think it's over a 2-year period too. Is it? It's over a 2-year period.
Yeah, but then we want it every year.
Yes. You don't want to run a situation where you
Yeah.
have a problem.
Yeah. And then your demos must change dramatically between a day game, a night game, during midweek, to a weekend day game, right?
Yeah, it's difficult. We've got some, because we're on the West Coast, we've got some noon Sunday start times, which are not great for a number of things. Not great to get staff in there because our gates open 2 hours prior, so our gates are opening at 10 a.m. on a Sunday. So now we're running into church services and things like that. People are religious, so that's a problem for us. And we push back a lot on MLS. We say we don't want that time. Well, you're taking that time. But we've had some issues with we have an artificial surface, so there's some heat issues. If it's out a very hot day, the surface is actually, it's like 30 degrees warmer than a grass field, so then we have to push it back. But then it's been a noon game for 3 months now. Now it's a 6:30 game. So now so managing all those, it's difficult at times. But just gotta, the TV money is so much more than we can generate. So we just have to kind of handle it and move forward.
I have a question about sellouts and how to handle that on the fan side of things, because especially in NLR and in my passion, rugby, it's critical to have the other team's fans there. It's just a part of the environment. So you were saying that all of the games were sold out. How do you accommodate visiting fans?
So we have one person on staff who focuses on visiting supporters. We have, for our Cascadia games against Seattle and Vancouver, we actually have 2 full sections we put on hold for them. And they can buy up to that number of tickets. It's 800 tickets for the 2 sections. We are actively contacting them months in advance, and then a month out, they need to give us kind of a firm number. MLS says 2 weeks, but we make them say a month so that we have time to sell the remaining tickets. And we actually got burned a little bit the past couple of years. Vancouver hasn't purchased as many. One was because last year with the Trump travel ban, they said we're not coming. So then we had about 3 weeks out, we had about 600 tickets we had to sell, and it was actually, people just assumed we're sold out. So selling 600 tickets in a couple weeks is actually not easy to do when nobody says, oh, you just can't get tickets. Yeah. So we have someone actually trying to get people, soliciting business supporters, having seats on hold for them, and then as we get closer to game release, seats to sell for individual department.
For us, it's more the merrier. So when you play an SMU or TCU and the comment, that's big. So we have a Texas Tech home and home, and a Texas A&M and Oklahoma State that's coming up. So that's massive for us. We put in dynamic and variable pricing over the last 2 years, so we're ready for that game. But like Joe had said, the more the merrier. And that's a difficult balance with ownership and different philosophies of the school. When I was originally with MLS, we wanted as many people from Portland to come down and to experience MLS. I don't know how that philosophy is anymore on the Sounder side, but those were some of the best matches when there was 65 or 66,000. So it's a difficult balance. So,
Any other questions? In the way back.
How do you boost student turnout? Where have you seen the biggest success for student turnout?
I think communication, so direct access to their mobile phone where they're saying, oh gosh, the game's at 1 o'clock, and then they're on the horn with friends, has really helped us instead of it getting into their email and they're getting hundreds of emails from professors and junk mail and so forth. So that's been a huge piece of the puzzle for us. And then just guerrilla marketing and getting out with the frats and the sororities. We've had decades of losing, so a little bit of an uptick of winning the last 2 seasons, and a new vibrance with a president that supports athletics has helped us a lot. And the numbers have been dramatic, and the authenticity from young people and the band coupled with the students helps everybody just really get into the game, so it's been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, we do the same thing. We have an app through SuperFanU where our students access the point systems. Are going to go to a sporting event, whether it's a revenue sport or not. They can access. We've integrated our mobile super with that as well, so we are pushing communications out all the time to them. But we really fed off the FOMO, the fear of missing out element. There were 3 or 4 games last year we sold out. All we got in was to have a student season ticket, so every student season ticket push out. But this year has been, look, for these games, if you don't have a season ticket, you're not getting in. I don't know how to tell you. And so sellouts beget more sellouts. So for us, it's been capitalizing off of the games we'll be able to push them away. And we're going to talk to Fisher University's like, well, we want the kids there. I don't have any seats left, so I don't know where to put them. So we've just sort of tried to feed off of that sense of urgency. Look, if you don't get your tickets, you're not getting in.
So one last question. Are we good? More questions? All right. Thanks for attending.
Brian Robinson.